Welcome along everyone to Silverstone. Britain has returned the highest number of F1 World Champions of any country that's taken part in this glorious sport. We take our racing very seriously here, as you can tell here today, at the British Grand Prix. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And Yuki Tsunoda completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Russell, Antonelli, Lando Norris, and Hamilton, Verstappen, Piastri, Lawson, and Isaac Hadjar, Stroll, Sainz, Alex Albon, and Fernando Alonso, Behrman, Hülkenberg, Esteban Ocon, and Pierre Gasly. Bortoletto, and Jack Doohan rounds off the grid. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. Well, it's been a long time since I last worked with you. Good to see you again today. Anthony Davidson, I know what we've got to do before the start of today's race, but what about our driver? What do the final hours look like for them?
Well, for them, you've got your pre-race rituals that you go through. You see different drivers that, some have got their headphones on, they're listening to the music. Some drivers really absorb the energy from the crowd and they're there waving to them. Other drivers, they go within themselves. They chat to their engineers, absorbing that information, that vital information that you need to carry you through the race. And, those pre-race rituals are essential to making things systematic. We do a lot of Grand Prix in a season, and the more systematic you can be, the easier you are within that environment.
Radio check, please. Radio check.
Yeah, radio is good.
We can now use DRS. DRS now available. Great manoeuvre. You made it look so easy. Good job, that was the fastest lap of the race so far. No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving. Great work, that's a new fastest lap of the race. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 13.0 seconds. Okay mate, final lap. Keep your concentration and let's bring it home.
It's quite good.
he conquered. It's victory for Gabriel Bortoleto.
They had to be decisive with their overtaking today as they worked their way through the field. And those kind of race victories are so enjoyable because it's not just like winning from the front. They really had to work for it today.
It's time to bring out the bubbly and spray it around. It's our podium celebrations. And that top spot waits for one driver. Today, it's Gabriel Bortoleto. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one. Nestled in the Ardennes forest waits an absolutely classic challenge. A throwback, and unashamedly so. The reputation of Spa-Francorchamps speaks for itself. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Belgian Grand Prix. Spa-Francorchamps today, a circuit that spans 4.35 miles. There are tons of elevation changes along the way too. 19 corners making up this circuit, with 9 of those to the right and the remaining 10 to the left. This track's a great one for fans of pure speed, and the average lap speed comes close to a whopping 145 miles per hour. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. What a qualifying yesterday for George Russell. He'll start today's race from pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Verstappen, Hamilton, Yuki Tsunoda, and Norris, Antonelli, Piastri, Sainz, and Lance Stroll, Hadjar, Albon, Liam Lawson, and Fernando Alonso, Bortoleto, Gasly, Jack Doohan, and Ollie Behrman. Hülkenberg and Esteban Ocon lines up at the back of the grid. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. And alongside me, a man, well, what more can I say? But he's a legend. Anthony Davidson. Look, we know it's not where you start, it's where you finish. But let's talk about the start now. What's there to help the drivers get away well?
Big pressure at the start of the race, Crofty, for all of them up and down the grid, no matter where you are. But the drivers these days, they practice, practice and practice. They have rigs with them at the circuit where they can sit down with the actual steering wheel from the real car, and they've got lights that they react to. The clutch paddle is tailored around the driver's hands, around their fingers, so they can have optimum position before they start. So there's so much thought and effort that goes into getting these cars off the line.
Okay, radio check, radio check.
Radio's good.
DRS now enables. DRS enables. Nice move, good job. That was the fastest lap of the race. Keep this up. Well done. No tyre concerns at the moment. Just focus on the driving. job. That was the fastest lap of the race so far.
I'm not sure I should be happy for that, but I'm actually happy, so good.
And it's a win, and what a win for Gabriel Bortoleto.
You always look back at a race like this and think, if I'd just made that mistake there or locked up here, there would have been contact. And every one of those overtakes is a moment where you have to absolutely nail it, perfect it, and that's exactly what they were able to do today. Great stuff indeed.
From lights out to the checkered flag, each and every driver has this moment in the back of their mind. Now it's time for their celebrations. Our podium, it awaits. Congratulations and well done. It's Gabriel Bortoleto. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport action. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.